Welcome back to Important Updates. Global news without the noise. Subscribe to stay updated. I don't think people understand just how unprecedented this moment is. The world was stunned as breaking news flashed across screens in every corner of the globe. The International Criminal Court in The Hague had just issued an unprecedented arrest warrant for former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte, sending shockwaves through international communities and igniting fierce debate. The charge was grave: crimes against humanity, centered on the thousands of extrajudicial killings that occurred during Duterte's controversial war on drugs, a campaign that had long divided both the Philippines and the world. Years of painstaking investigation, relentless advocacy by human rights groups, and the heartbreaking testimonies of victims' families had finally culminated in this historic moment, as the world's attention turned to the pursuit of justice. The ICC's decision transformed what had been long-standing allegations and rumors into a formal, global legal confrontation, raising questions about accountability, justice, and the reach of international law. For supporters, this was more than a legal action. It was a long-awaited victory for accountability, a glimmer of hope for families who felt abandoned by their own justice system, and a sign that the world was finally listening to their cries for justice. But critics, especially Duterte's staunchest allies and nationalist politicians, condemned the move as blatant foreign interference, arguing that it was an attack on Philippine sovereignty and an insult to the nation's ability to govern itself. They insisted that the drug war, while harsh and controversial, was a necessary and urgent response to a national crisis that threatened the safety and future of millions of Filipinos. The arrest warrant instantly became more than just a legal document. It emerged as a powerful symbol of the ongoing struggle between the ideals of international justice and the realities of national independence, sparking heated debate across continents. With the world's eyes now fixed on the Philippines and The Hague, the stakes had never been higher, and the outcome would resonate far beyond the courtroom, shaping the future of international law and national sovereignty for years to come. Rodrigo Duterte, often called the Punisher, first made his mark as the long-serving mayor of Davao City. He was known for his tough, no-nonsense approach to crime and his willingness to challenge the status quo. Under his leadership, Davao transformed from a city plagued by violence into what many called one of the safest cities in the Philippines, though critics argued this came at a heavy cost. Riding on his reputation for order and discipline, Duterte launched a presidential campaign, promising to crush crime and corruption nationwide. His blunt language and bold promises resonated with millions of Filipinos who were tired of government inaction and rampant lawlessness. His tough guy image and populist rhetoric electrified the public. Many saw him as a man of action, someone who could finally bring change to a country frustrated by decades of political dysfunction. Once in office, Duterte wasted no time. He declared an all-out war on drugs, vowing to eradicate the problem within months. His administration encouraged police to take extreme measures, promising protection for those who followed his orders. The results were immediate and shocking. Thousands died in police operations, with authorities insisting that most victims were drug dealers who violently resisted arrest. Streets that were once busy became scenes of fear and bloodshed. But human rights groups painted a different picture. They documented widespread extrajudicial killings, suspects executed without trial, families left grieving, and bodies left in the streets as warnings to others. Duterte's fiery speeches not only encouraged violence but also dismissed critics at home and abroad. He lashed out at the United Nations and Western governments, accusing them of meddling in Philippine affairs and misunderstanding the country's problems. Despite the controversy, many Filipinos continued to see him as a champion of the people, a leader willing to do what others would not. Yet, others warned that he was crossing dangerous lines, undermining democracy and the rule of law. The international community took notice. The International Criminal Court began investigating whether these killings were part of a systematic, state-sanctioned policy, raising questions about accountability at the highest levels of government. The central question emerged: was this truly law enforcement, or had it become a campaign of murder carried out with impunity? That question put Rodrigo Duterte squarely in the crosshairs of the International Criminal Court, making his legacy one of the most controversial in Philippine history. The International Criminal Court, or ICC, is the world's court of last resort for the gravest crimes: genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and aggression. Founded in 2002 by the Rome Statute, its mission is to end impunity for those most responsible for atrocities. The ICC prosecutes individuals, not states, no matter how powerful. It only steps in when national courts can't or won't act. Over 120 countries are members, legally bound to cooperate with the court. But major powers like the US, Russia, and China have refused to join, limiting the ICC's reach. The court relies on member states to arrest suspects and transfer them to The Hague. Without their cooperation, the ICC's authority is often more symbolic than practical. Its structure includes prosecutors, judges, and a registry for administration and witness protection. The ICC's message: no one, not even a president, is above the law. An ICC arrest warrant is not just a legal notice. It's a global red flag, signaling to the world that someone is accused of the gravest crimes under international law. It's a formal declaration that the international community is watching, and that the accused is now under intense scrutiny. All member states, over 120 countries, are legally obligated to arrest the named individual if they set foot on their soil. This transforms the world map into a patchwork of risk zones for anyone facing such a warrant. For Duterte, this means international travel is now a high-stakes gamble. Every trip abroad could end in detention, extradition, or even a sudden arrest at an airport, making even routine journeys fraught with uncertainty. The warrant brands him as a suspect in crimes against humanity, isolating him diplomatically. Many leaders and diplomats may now avoid official meetings, and invitations to global events may quietly disappear. But it's not a conviction. He's presumed innocent until proven guilty in a fair trial. The legal process is designed to ensure that justice is served, not just assumed. The ICC can't make arrests itself. It depends entirely on member countries' cooperation. Without their willingness to act, the warrant is just paper, powerful but limited. If a suspect stays in a non-cooperative country, the warrant is powerless there. Some nations simply refuse to recognize the ICC's authority, providing safe havens for fugitives. Many with ICC warrants have evaded arrest for years by staying home or in friendly nations. The world has seen high-profile fugitives live openly, untouched by international law. The process is slow, and justice is never guaranteed. Cases can drag on for years, and political obstacles often delay or derail proceedings. Still, the warrant is a permanent mark, a warning to others, and a source of hope for victims. It tells survivors that their voices have been heard, and that the world has not forgotten their suffering. It's the first step in a long, uncertain road to accountability, a journey that may take years, but one that begins with a single, powerful act of international justice. The ICC's greatest strength is its core principle: no one is above the law. For centuries, leaders committed atrocities with impunity, shielded by sovereign immunity. The ICC challenges that, offering victims a voice when national systems fail. Its existence deters some leaders from mass violence, knowing they could face international justice. The court creates an official record of atrocities, fighting denial and revisionism. This record is vital for healing, reconciliation, and honoring victims. The ICC's impact is often invisible, but its message is clear. Power does not equal immunity. Justice, even if delayed, is now a global demand. The ICC's authority clashes with the principle of national sovereignty. Many countries, especially powerful ones, reject outside interference in their affairs. The US, China, and Russia have refused to join, limiting the court's reach. Critics accuse the ICC of political bias, noting its focus on leaders from less powerful nations. State cooperation is voluntary for non-members and unreliable even for some members. The Philippines withdrew from the ICC after the drug war probe began, refusing to cooperate. The court's power depends on the very leaders it seeks to prosecute, a paradox at its core. Arrests often hinge on political change, international pressure, or a suspect's travel. The ICC's biggest weakness is enforcement. It has no police, no army, no way to make arrests on its own. Its warrants are only as strong as the political will of member states. High-profile suspects like Sudan's Omar al-Bashir traveled freely for years, even to ICC member countries. In Duterte's case, as long as he stays in the Philippines and the government refuses to cooperate, he's untouchable. The current administration has made clear it won't help the ICC. The warrant becomes a waiting game, its power lying in its persistence and the possibility of future political change. If Duterte travels to a cooperative country, he risks arrest. The warrant limits his freedom and hangs over his legacy. Justice may be delayed, but the case is far from closed. The Duterte case is a major test for international law and the ICC's credibility. The Philippines' withdrawal from the Rome Statute challenges the court's authority. The ICC insists it retains jurisdiction over crimes committed while the country was a member. The outcome will set a precedent for how the court handles countries that try to escape justice by leaving. The case also redefines crimes against humanity in the context of domestic policy, not just war. A successful prosecution would warn leaders everywhere. Domestic crackdowns can have global consequences. Failure would reinforce the view that the ICC is powerless against uncooperative states. The world is watching to see if justice can truly cross borders. The stakes: the future of accountability in a world of sovereign nations. The ICC's warrant for Duterte is a turning point for global justice. Even if he never faces trial, the message is clear. Impunity for leaders is no longer guaranteed. The world is on notice. Actions against your own people can bring international consequences. Future leaders must now consider the risk of becoming international fugitives. The case exposes the ICC's weaknesses: enforcement, political bias, and lack of support from major powers. For the court to matter, it needs broader backing and real enforcement power. Still, the warrant is a beacon for victims and a warning to would-be perpetrators. The journey toward justice is slow and uncertain, but the demand for accountability is growing. The Duterte case is a test of the world's resolve to hold the powerful to account. Justice, however imperfect, is now a global expectation.